Hi friends, why does the mind sometimes become our worst enemy? Why do intelligent people overthink, self sabotage, lose hope, or feel trapped within their own thoughts? And yet, the same mind can also become creative, courageous, disciplined, even spiritually awakened. So the real question is not merely what is the mind, but who directs the mind. Today, let us explore this through a remarkable synthesis of William James, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Kena Upanishad. The Bhagavad Gita gives one of the deepest psychological insights ever expressed. Krishna says, for one who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. For one who has failed to do so, the mind remains the greatest enemy. This is astonishingly modern. The problem is not the mind itself. The same mind can create despair or generate strength, can imprison us or liberate us. We experience this every day. Sometimes the mind magnifies fear, repeats painful memories, creates imaginary catastrophes, drains our energy. At that moment, the mind behaves like an enemy. But when disciplined and aligned, the same mind becomes clarity, focus, resilience, and inner power. More than 2000 years later, William James, one of the founders of modern psychology, arrived at a remarkably similar insight. He said, my experience is what I agree to attend to. What a profound statement. James understood that attention shapes experience, repeated attention creates habit, habit shapes character, and character influences destiny. This means the mind gradually becomes what it repeatedly focuses upon. If consciousness constantly attends to fear, resentment, hopelessness, then those pathways strengthen. But if attention is directed toward courage, meaning, disciplined purpose, the personality itself changes. James also said, the greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes. Now, attitude here does not merely mean positive thinking. For James, attitude includes inner orientation, deliberate attention, and above all, will. In fact, he wrote, effort of attention is the essential phenomenon of will. Think about that carefully. Will is not merely forceful emotion. Sometimes will is simply bringing the wandering mind back again and again toward what is true, meaningful, and life giving. Is this not close to yoga itself? The Gita teaches practice, self mastery, disciplined awareness. James describes psychologically what the yogic tradition explored spiritually. This is why Arjuna is such an eternal figure. On the battlefield, his body wakens, his thoughts collapse, his will disintegrates, he is psychologically overwhelmed. But Krishna does not merely tell him, think positively. Instead, he clarifies perception, reorients consciousness, resolves, restores purpose. and awakens deeper awareness. Arjuna's transformation begins when consciousness changes direction. But now the Kena Upanishad takes us even deeper. Its very first verse asks, directed by whom does the mind go toward its objects? This is extraordinary. The Upanishad is asking who is behind the mind itself, who directs thought, perception, attention, even will. This is a revolutionary shift. William James studies the functioning of consciousness. The Gita teaches mastery of consciousness, but the Kena Upanishad asks what is the source of consciousness itself. The Upanishad suggests there is something deeper than thought, a witnessing consciousness, a presence behind the mind, the senses, emotions, and even the ego. The second verse says, that which is the mind behind the mind, the hearing behind hearing. This means thoughts are observed, emotions are observed, mental conflict is observed. Therefore, the observer cannot merely be the thought itself. This insight changes everything because if I can observe my anxiety, then perhaps I am not identical with the anxiety. If I can witness despair, then despair may not be my deepest identity. Now we can see a beautiful synthesis emerging. William James teaches attention shapes mental life. The Bhagavad Gita teaches the disciplined mind becomes a friend. The Kena Upanishad teaches there is a consciousness beyond the mind itself. This creates three levels of human growth: being controlled by the mind, learning to direct the mind, discovering the consciousness beyond the mind. Perhaps true freedom does not begin when every problem disappears. Perhaps it begins when awareness deepens, attention becomes disciplined, and consciousness awakens to its deeper source. Then the mind is no longer a prison or a battlefield alone. It becomes an instrument, a servant, even a bridge toward higher consciousness. And that may be one of the greatest journeys of human life. The mind can be your enemy, the mind can become your ally, but beyond both lies the deeper mystery asked by the Kena Upanishad, who is the knower behind the mind itself? Thank you.